Let me introduce myself first. My name is Rayhan. Back then, I was working a delivery job, mostly night shifts. I had to drive along long highways outside the city almost every day. It was one of the most exhausting times of my life, but also when the strangest things happened to me. This incident took place about 2 years ago. It was around 1 a.m. I had just finished a delivery and was heading back. The highway was nearly empty, just a few trucks in the distance and an occasional car passing by. The moon was out, but hidden behind clouds, making everything feel unusually dark. My car was running low on fuel. I decided to stop at a gas station ahead that I had seen a few times before, but I had never stopped there at night. As soon as I entered the station, I felt something was off. The lights were on, but they were flickering slightly. The whole place felt unnaturally cold. Even though it was a warm night, I got chills. There were no other cars around, just me and the empty station. I got out of the car and walked toward the pump. Strangely, there was no one there, no staff, no customers. I called out, "Hello? Anyone here?" No response. I thought maybe someone was inside, so I started walking toward the store. Just then, I heard a girl's voice from behind. "Are you here for fuel?" I froze and turned around. There was a girl standing there. She looked about 22 or 23, long hair, wearing a light blue dress. But the first thing that felt strange, her face was unusually pale, and her eyes, they were too calm, almost emotionless. I hesitated and said, "Yeah, but I thought no one was here." She gave a faint smile. "I'm here. I work here." That surprised me. I had never seen her before. She turned on the pump and started filling my tank. The whole time, she never made eye contact, just kept looking down while working. Trying to break the silence, I asked, "You work this late?" She replied slowly, "Yes, night is my shift." There was something cold in her voice that made me uncomfortable. When she finished, I went to pay. She said, "Cash will do." I handed her the money. As she took it, her hand touched mine, and I instantly felt it. Her hand was ice cold. I looked at her, confused. "Why is your hand so cold?" She didn't answer, just looked at me once, and I still can't forget that look. It felt like she was seeing right through me. Then she suddenly said, "You're new here, aren't you?" I replied, "No, I pass by sometimes." She shook her head slowly. "Don't come here at night. This place isn't good." I tried to laugh it off. "Why?" She didn't answer, just stared into the darkness behind the station. That's when I noticed something. A car parked in one corner of the station. It looked old, covered in dust, like it hadn't been used in a long time. I asked her, "Whose car is that?" She replied quietly, "That's from long ago." Then suddenly, her tone changed. "You should leave, now." There was urgency in her voice this time. Feeling uneasy, I got into my car. Just as I was about to start the engine, I glanced at the rearview mirror. I saw her standing there, but she wasn't alone. There was a shadow behind her, tall, unclear, but definitely shaped like a person. My heart skipped a beat. I quickly turned back. No one was there. I looked at the mirror again. The shadow was still there. She was staring directly at me, slowly shaking her head as if warning me to leave. I didn't wait another second. I drove off as fast as I could. About 10 minutes later, I stopped at another gas station. There was an older man there. I casually asked, "The gas station back there, there's a girl working there, right?" The man looked at me strangely. "What girl?" I said, "Long hair, blue dress." He stayed quiet for a moment. Then he said, "That station has been closed for 6 months."
A cold wave ran through my body. I said, "No, I just came from there. There was a girl." The man spoke slowly. 6 months ago, there was an accident. A girl who worked the night shift. A drunk driver hit her. She died on the spot. My hands went cold. He added, "Since then, some people say they still see a girl there at night." I didn't say anything else. I never took that road at night again. But the scariest part? The next morning, I found something on my car seat. An old, torn receipt from that gas station. The date on it was 6 months ago.
That night, I will never forget it. Even now, whenever I pass by a gas station, my body turns cold. It feels like someone is watching me from very close. Back then, I used to work the night shift. The gas station was on the edge of town, right off the highway. The place was naturally quiet. During the day, a few trucks and occasional cars would stop by, but after midnight, it felt completely dead. That night was no different. It was 1:43 a.m. A thin layer of fog had settled outside. Under the station lights, the fog looked thick, almost like milk floating in the air. I was sitting behind the counter, scrolling through my phone. Suddenly, I noticed something on the CCTV monitor in front of me. A shadow moved. At first, I thought maybe a car had pulled in, but no, the road was empty. I leaned closer to the monitor. Camera 3, the one facing pump number 2. There was a man standing there. I don't know where he came from. He was completely still, head lowered, arms hanging beside his body. He stood in a way that felt wrong, like he had been standing there for a long time. A strange discomfort started building in my chest. I stepped outside. "Hey, do you need gas?" No response. I walked a little closer. That's when I saw his face, and every hair on my body stood up. His eyes were gone. I mean, the sockets were there, but inside it was just darkness, like 2 deep, endless holes. I instinctively took a step back. "Sir, are you okay?" He slowly raised his head. Then, in a low, trembling voice, he said, "Turn on the pump." His voice was wrong. It sounded like multiple voices speaking at once, deep, shaky, unnatural. I knew something wasn't right, but according to the rules, I had to serve the customer. So I went back inside and turned on the pump. Then I looked at the monitor again. He was still standing there, but now his head was slightly tilted and he was looking directly at the camera. My throat went dry. I stepped outside again. "Sir, aren't you going to take the gas?" No response. I looked at the pump. The nozzle was lying on the ground. He wasn't even using it. I turned back toward him. This time, he was right in front of me. I swear, just seconds ago, he was at least 10-12 feet away. I stepped back. "How did you get here?" He smiled. No, that wasn't a smile. It was something else, something terrifying. His lips stretched slowly across his face, but those hollow, dark eye sockets remained still. "You're alone." My body froze. I ran inside and locked the door. My heart was pounding so loud I thought it would be heard outside. I looked at the CCTV monitor. He was gone. The entire place was empty. I let out a shaky breath. Maybe I imagined it. Maybe. Just then, I heard a voice behind me. "You already turned on the pump." My body went numb. Slowly, I turned around. He was standing right behind me, inside the counter area. But I had locked the door. I screamed, "How did you get in here?" He tilted his head slightly. "I've been here for a long time." Then he placed his hand on the counter. That's when I noticed his hand was wet and red. Blood. My eyes widened. He leaned forward slowly. "Do you know what used to be here?" I couldn't speak. He answered himself. "There was an accident here." Suddenly I remembered my manager once told me that years ago a terrible accident happened at this exact spot. A car caught fire and the man inside burned alive. My voice shook as I asked, "Are you that man?" He smiled again. "I couldn't get out." His voice became more distorted. "I still can't get out." Suddenly the lights flickered. Then everything went dark. Complete darkness. In the silence, I could hear his breathing, very close, right beside my ear. "You will help me get out." I screamed and ran toward the door. I burst outside. The whole place looked empty, but then I smelled something burning, strong, like something was on fire. I turned back. Inside the gas station, flames. I froze. But the fire was strange. It stayed contained inside. Nothing outside was burning. And in the flames, I saw him, standing exactly the same way. But now his skin was burning, slowly peeling away. He raised his hand toward me. "Come back." I didn't wait another second. I ran to the road. After a while, a truck stopped. I told the driver everything. He went inside to check. Everything was normal. No fire, nothing. The next day, I quit my job. But that's not the end. A few days later, I was passing that road again. From a distance, I saw the gas station. Then something caught my eye. Near pump number 2, someone was standing, head down, completely still, just like before. But this time, he wasn't alone. There was someone else standing beside him. Me. Same face, same posture, head down, still. That's when I realized I never truly left that place.
My name is Raihan. I'm 29 years old. I work at a small software company. I never believed in ghosts, black magic, or anything like that. I always thought those things were just fear and superstition created by people. But something that happened to me last year changed everything, in a way that even now, when I try to sleep at night, my chest feels cold. The story started within my own family. We have a pretty big family. After my grandfather passed away, there were a lot of conflicts over his property, especially my uncle. He always believed that my grandfather loved me more than others, and that's why he left some property in my name. I never really cared about any of that, but in his eyes, I had somehow become an enemy. At first, things were normal, just silent tension. My uncle stopped talking to me, avoided eye contact. But the real strange things started a few months later. One night, I suddenly woke up. It felt like someone was standing right outside my bedroom door. At first, I thought I was imagining things, but then I heard a whisper. "You won't be happy with what you took from me." The voice was cold, dry. It didn't even sound human. It felt like it was coming from underground. I got up and opened the door immediately. No one was there. The whole house was silent. The next morning, I tried to convince myself it was just a nightmare, but that night was just the beginning. After that, something strange started happening almost every day. Things in my room would move on their own. My phone wouldn't be where I left it. I'd find it under the bed in the morning. The lights would flicker on and off randomly. But the worst part was at night, when I felt pressure on my chest while sleeping. It felt like someone was sitting on me. But when I opened my eyes, there was nothing there. One night, I came home late from work. As soon as I entered my room, I noticed a strange smell. Something was burning, but it wasn't wood or plastic. It was sharp, unfamiliar, disturbing. The smell was coming from my bed. I checked under my pillow. There was a small cloth bundle. My hands were shaking as I opened it. Inside, there were black threads, a small doll stained with red marks, and some hair. My entire body went cold. Because that hair, it was mine. I was sure of it. That night, I couldn't sleep at all. I felt like someone was watching me. Not just watching, waiting.
The next morning, I told my mother everything. At first, she didn't believe me, but when she saw the bundle, her face changed. In a very low voice, she said, "Someone made this to harm you." I asked, "Who would do this to me?" She stayed silent for a while, then slowly said, "You can't trust everyone, not even your own people." That line stuck in my head. After that, I started noticing the way my uncle looked at me. There was a strange smile on his face, like he knew something I didn't. One afternoon, I was home alone. Suddenly, I felt extremely dizzy. My body became weak. I couldn't even stand properly. Then, I heard that same whisper again. "Slowly, you'll be finished." I leaned against the wall and sat down. Everything around me was getting blurry. And then I looked at the mirror. I saw my reflection, but it wasn't me. My face looked distorted. My eyes were completely black, and there was an unnatural smile on my lips. I screamed, and the next moment, everything was normal again. I didn't wait anymore. That same night, I went to a man my friend had told me about, someone experienced with these things. After hearing everything, he became very serious. He said, "Someone has done something to you, and it's someone close." I asked, "Can this be stopped?" He replied, "If we act in time, maybe." For the next few days, I followed everything he told me. I burned certain things, recited specific prayers, and most importantly, he told me not to keep any of those objects in my house. I did everything. Slowly, the strange things started to stop. The whispers disappeared, the pressure at night was gone. I thought it was over. But one day, I found out my uncle had suddenly become very sick. His condition got worse very quickly. One day, I was passing by his room when he called me in. I went inside. He looked at me and said in a weak voice, "You survived, but it's not over." Before I could say anything, he started coughing. Then, in a very low voice, he said, "What has begun never truly ends." Those words still echo in my mind. Everything seems normal now. I'm fine. But sometimes, very late at night, when everything is completely silent, I still hear that whisper. Very slowly, very close. It's not over.